The most delightfully fascinating character in the realms of mystery, Charlie Chan. Never in his long career has Charlie Chan, the Honolulu detective, faced such a baffling mystery as that involving the murder of Ellen Landini and Dr. Swan at Pine View. All the guests and all the servants had ample motive in the eyes of the law, and each in turn had opportunity. Suspicion, however, is more definitely pointed at Ah Sing than at any of the others, but Charlie Chan dislikes to arrest Ah Sing at the present, and he explains his reasons to Don Holt, the sheriff, as they sit before the study fire.
You see, Sheriff, we could arrest Ah Sing, and there is no question in my mind but that the average jury would return a verdict of guilty against him. Men have been convicted on much less circumstantial evidence than we can present.
But you said yourself that any smart lawyer would make our testimony appear pretty flimsy.
Yes, Sheriff, I did that, but I am convinced that the jury would return a verdict of guilty.
Yes, I suppose you're right, Inspector.
Yet you must admit, Sheriff, that almost the same evidence, if sufficiently pointed by a prosecuting attorney, could be led against Romano, Swan, Ryder, Cecile, and Ah Sing.
But Swan being murdered? Oh, I see. It would be easy to show that Swan killed Landini. That would leave us with the solving of Swan's murder.
Correct, Sheriff. But in the Swan murder, Miss Beaton, Mr. Ryder, Romano, Mr. Ward, Mr. Beaton, all have each other for alibi witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
Cecile, Ireland, and Ah Sing are the three left when one considers the Swan murder by itself.
Well, isn't that the sensible thing to do?
No.
Why not?
Because it does not include the all-important motive. The motive which could account for the killing of Madame Landini cannot by any stretch of the too easily stretched imagination be applied to the killing of Dr. Swan.
Come in.
Ah, Mr. Holt. Honored indeed. You will sit here beside the window?
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Chan.
I thought you'd want Mr. Holt up here. I'll go and talk to Cash Shannon. That is, if you don't require me.
Yes, Miss Beaton. You run along and let Cash amuse you for a while.
See you all later, then.
What's the idea, Dad?
Mainly, son, that I got something to tell you that I didn't want anyone else to hear.
Important?
Yes, son. Seems, Mr. Chan, that I was a better detective than I wanted to be.
Yes, Mr. Holt?
You remember the fuzz I found on the chair?
From that blue blanket Ah Sing fetched for Landini's dog? Yeah.
We alibied Ah Sing out of that fix by remembering that Ah Sing fetched the blankets that night we took Landini's body to the county seat.
Yeah, I sent Ah Sing for those blankets myself.
Yeah. And we gave Ah Sing the benefit of the doubt. You remember we said that he laid the blankets down on the chair after Landini was killed?
Yes, Mr. Holt. Otherwise, much as we wished to avoid it, we were faced with the necessity of recognizing that Ah Sing had carried the blanket into the room before Landini's murder, a fact which Ah Sing vigorously denied.
Ah Sing lied. I spoke to the doctor, and he said that night when they got ready to move the body, and Don here sent Ah Sing for the blankets, that he, the doctor, took the blankets from Ah Sing at the study door.
Then Ah Sing never had opportunity of placing blanket on arm of chair after Landini murder?
No, Mr. Chan, he did not.
Well, kind of looks like that was that.
Unfortunately, yes. We accumulate facts, and facts point to inevitable conclusion. Truly it is said that never yet was there a tree so big that its bore cooked rice. We move step at a time, but we reach eventually the end of the road.
Makes me sort of sick. I think I'll go outside for a walk.
Very well, Sheriff.
See you before you leave, Dad.
Yes, son.
Oh, Mr. Ryder.
Yes. Chan in the study?
Come in, Mr. Ryder.
I thought this might interest you, Chan.
Yes, Mr. Ryder.
A telegram from my man.
Read. You're 45 in top drawer of desk in library. Signed, Simmons.
And for your information, I've never owned more than 145.
Thank you, Mr. Ryder. Oh, since you're here, one question, please.
Yes?
Why did you try to throw blame for murder upon Ah Sing?
What?
Why did you question Sheriff about fact of Ah Sing's glasses being broken? You knew that murderer was person of poor eyesight, and you deliberately brought up fact that Sing's glasses were broken.
I wasn't trying, as you say, to throw the blame on anybody. I asked Ah Sing if he still read English. I held a book up for him to read, and he told me he'd broken his glasses. I asked Dudley to see about getting them fixed that day in Reno when you went to interview Miss Meacher. Well, that's all. Why, if I thought Ah Sing were guilty, I'd try to shield him. He's one of the real Chinese, Sing is.
Quite, Mr. Ryder. I have great respect and admiration for Ah Sing. He is, as you say, one of the real Chinese. Mr. Holt, my arm. We shall go downstairs.
Thank you, Mr. Chan.
Ah, I see Mr. Romano. You're going down for lunch, Mr. Romano?
Yes, Mr. Chan. But I was going to speak to you first. Mr. Chan, can you not arrange that I leave this place? I can always be reached.
I'm afraid, Mr. Romano, that is something which rests with the sheriff.
But the sheriff, we know, Mr. Chan, he will do what you advise. I am wasted time here. I know nothing of this affair. I cannot help.
I am so sorry, Mr. Romano. The decision lies with Mr. Holt, the sheriff.
Here's the sheriff now, Romano. Why don't you ask him?
But what is the use? I know the answer. No. Never anything but no. No.
Monsieur Chan, a telegram for you.
Thank you, Cecile. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Cecile, have you not forgotten something?
No, Monsieur Chan. Not a single thing that I can think of.
Something about not sleeping and seeing someone creeping down the back stairs?
Mr. Ward, he tell you?
Mr. Ward? Mr. Ward has said nothing.
Then how does Monsieur know?
How I know makes little difference. After lunch, Cecile, I shall expect to see you in the study.
Oui, monsieur.
Be prepared to give me a complete explanation. That will be all. So thank you so much.
Yeah, kind of took the wind out of our sails, that didn't, Mr. Chan?
Yes, Mr. Holt. Mr. Sheriff, here is telegram which may contain news.
Coming, Mr. Chan.
Yes. Ballistics expert says bullet found embedded in tree was fired from Landini gun. Just as we thought.
Well, we already guessed that.
I thought it might be something else.
One step at a time, Miss Beaton. Patience, and even the crowbar dragged in the sand will eventually become knitting needle. Come, Mr. Holt. I shall lead you to lunch table.
Thank you, Mr. Chan. You know, Mr. Chan, I've been wondering about something in this case.
You were saying, Leslie, that Cash asked you to go horseback riding with him this afternoon?
Yes.
First thing he'll do is ask you to ride up to that clearing where we went the other day. I wish it's kind of favor to me that you wouldn't.
But what shall I tell Cash?
Well, tell him you've been there already.
Oh, but Cash isn't the sort to be put off with an excuse like that.
Yeah, I know it, doggone it. I wish I could say things like I want to. You know, somehow, I just haven't got the words. Cash can say it. He'd more than likely tell you that you're the prettiest girl he's seen around these parts.
He has.
Already?
Yes, several times.
Yeah. Cash is a fast worker. He got engaged to 3 different girls last summer.
You mean he's fickle?
Well, you know those fellows that talk a lot.
Yet, the strong, silent ones have their difficulties. Like, perhaps, explaining what I'm to say to Cash when he asks me to go riding to that clearing.
You might tell him that you're going to marry me.
But would that be the truth?
Well, I know you haven't seen the county seat yet.
No, but I have seen the sheriff.
You mean that?
I guess, that is, I reckon I do.
Golly, did you tell Cash that you're going to marry me?
Oh, Don, don't you think you ought to ask me first?
Well, Charlie Chan's prediction that the spring would be a happy one for the sheriff is most certainly proved correct. But what of the additional evidence against Ah Sing? Will the inspector feel bound to make the arrest? Or does he see something in his summing up of the evidence which we miss? Inspector Chan will be with us again. Good evening, Mr. Chan. We're all waiting to see what Chinese philosophical saying you have for us this evening.
I have been thinking of Miss Beaton's remark upon the rapidity with which Mr. Cash Shannon made love. It is, I think, almost symbolical of the age. I am reminded of an ancient Chinese philosopher's saying when it was requested that he hurry. He looked up from his books and said, "What is time? A thing to be measured by the sands running through a glass? Think ye and remember, the hourglass was made for man, not man for the hourglass."
Food for thought indeed, Mr. Chan. Thank you, and good night.